Don't do that, Francis. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Hourglass, More Than Tits and Ass. I'm your host, l.shima, and this is going to be a phenomenal episode. I feel like it may, let's hope not, actually, but I feel like some people will definitely disagree. I do also feel like some people may agree, but just to throw this in there for anyone, especially on Instagram as well as Twitch, for anyone that's new, that's never seen any of the episodes or don't even know who I am in the first place. If you don't know who I am, just literally Google me. It sounds very conceited, but just Google l.shima_model. You will find all my social media, and that will give you all the answers that you may be possibly looking for. So aside from that, the podcast Hourglass is basically a weekly podcast that I do to kind of should shed some light on what I do as a model and things that I go through, thoughts that I may have, just everything that I want to share. This is my time to do it. So a lot of the things that I will say is, again, coming from my mind, unless I have proven facts, and I will state those facts, or unless like it's a news thing or just whatever the case might be. But a lot of times what I share on the episodes is just from my own mind. So like anyone else's mind, we're all different. We all have our own opinions. Some people may disagree while others may agree. We're just a plethora of just unique individual human beings with their own creative minds and thoughts and all that fun stuff. So like I said, this podcast is mainly what I have to say. This is why also I like to do the podcast live. So everyone on Twitch, you can go and ask questions immediately or even state what your thoughts are, as well as on Instagram. I will try to be as swift as I can to talk and read, multitask, and you can share your thoughts, and if you have questions as well, you have the time to do so. Speaking of questions, before I get down into it, I also wanted to kind of answer some questions that I had on Tumblr, that some were a little bit older that I just haven't really got to, and others may be new. Who knows? I'm about to go right into it. But actually, pause real fast just because I want to mention my week kind of before I forget and get too deep into other things. My week has actually been really great, but one of the more notable moments was actually last night. So thank you for loving my earrings. They're actually one of the new things that I bought at a thrift store yesterday. That isn't the story I wanted to share, but yes, these are pretty dope earrings, I will have to say. And then this little eye booger, it's literally an eye. It's not an actual eye. That would be really crazy. But it looks like an eye, and it's a ring, and I think it's awesome. Anyways, nonetheless, getting sidetracked. So last night, Francis and I celebrated not only 4th of July, because we're Americans, but also our anniversary, because he thinks 4th of July is our anniversary. I say it's at the end of July, but whatever. I kind of just agreed with him and just left it at that. So nonetheless, we ended up celebrating the day yesterday, and one of the things that we ended up choosing to do was going to the movies to see Baby, the Driver. I think it's just called Baby, but some people put Baby Driver. Anyways, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's directed and I think written by Edgar Wright. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. But it is a very awesome movie, and one of the more intriguing things that made it more notable for me out of all of the movies I've seen, especially this year, is Francis decided to pay for these seats called D-Box. So we went to this theater in Royal Oak, Royal Oak, Michigan, and it's called Imagine. I'm sure they have it other places, but here in the Detroit area, the closest one is in Royal Oak. And so one of the snazzier things that this theater had was these seats called D-Box. And so Francis had to Google it. He was unsure what it was, and I don't even know what it was at all. So I didn't really necessarily know what to expect, other than Francis told me it was supposed to vibrate and also like move and stuff. So the first thing I thought was the IMAX, and I guess the IMAX doesn't do those types of chairs, but I swear to baby Jesus, when I lived in Texas and I was in grade school, we went to the Texas Bob Bullock History Museum, badass place. If you're ever in Austin, go check that place out. And they had the IMAX theater, and one of the things we went to see like a tornado movie. It might be the Notorious Tornado movie or a different one, I can't remember. But they even had like air pockets come from under the seat to like kind of scare you. So I always just associated that was IMAX. I've never been to an IMAX aside from that. But Francis says that's not what IMAX does. So whatever. Nonetheless. Anyways, so the seats actually did vibrate and were on hydraulics and moved. And so I felt like that movie was the perfect movie for those seats. Because every time the car would just start rumbling, your seat would rumble. Every time the movement of the camera would happen. Even when baby was just walking. Just a panning of a different direction, the chairs kind of moved with it in a sense, and it was just really weird. No joke, for the first 15 to 20 minutes I just could not stop laughing. I tried to not be like obnoxious to everyone around me, but I literally was just sitting in the seat while the seat is like moving and vibrating. I'm just literally laughing because this experience is insane. We're living in a time period where now we have vibrating and moving hydraulic chairs while we're watching these movies, and it was just a very, very, very hysterical moment for me. Even in the beginning of the movie wasn't necessarily funny in the beginning, so I just felt like I was an outsider just laughing. And I wasn't laughing at the movie, I was just laughing at the chair and what was happening to me at that very moment. And it was crazy. Anyways, so that's kind of what I wanted to share because it was just interesting, and I just highly recommend you watch Baby. So, hey, what's going on, everyone? Okay, one of the things, I don't want to make you big scream. One of the things I wanted to go over was Instagram questions, just because I've kind of neglected, Tumblr questions, because I've kind of neglected Tumblr for a little bit, because that is also a social media platform that I haven't really been using because I'm trying to take a break from it. So I'm going to go over a few of the questions that I have up here, and then we'll move on to the actual topic at hand. I also wanted to do this Tumblr questions because I'm unsure how long the topic is going to last for. So this is kind of like a time killer almost in a sense, but I feel like some of these questions are real worth answering on the podcast. So, first question, doing any modeling during the summer or fall? So, no, not that I have in mind, at least. There are a few traveling trips that are possibly going to happen, especially in October. I may be going to New York in October. I also may be going to Stockbridge, Massachusetts in October. I will be, that's the only one actually. I might go back to Florida at the end of this year, maybe, possibly, hopefully, sort of, maybe, I don't know. But as far as the summer and the fall, there's nothing really set in stone yet. But if I do ever have a travel trip planned, of course, check all my social media, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook no more, Twitter, and even on the podcast. If I have a traveling trip scheduled, I will definitely make sure to broadcast it as often as I can without sounding really, really annoying. But yeah, nothing necessarily set right now, especially for modeling wise. If I were to go on a trip, it may just be for vacation purposes and not to really do any modeling stuff. How do you feel about simps? Assuming you know what a simp is, I'm curious to know what a woman of your unique perspective views this type of guy. Urban Dictionary definition of a simp: a man that puts himself in a subservient, submissive position under women in hopes of winning them over, without the female bringing anything to the table. A man that puts too much value on a female for no reason. Interesting. I never knew that word existed. I didn't know what a simp was, and today I learned something new. What are my thoughts? How do I feel about simps? I mean, I don't necessarily have any feelings or thoughts towards that type of individual. If somebody wants to be submissive and let somebody make the calls and do all the choosings and stuff, by all means, if that makes them happy, go for it. As long as, my biggest thing is just as long as you're not like hurting somebody or harming yourself, do whatever you want that makes you like happy and stuff. I feel so bad, like I don't have like a very more in-depth, very like deep answer to that. But honestly, I don't have any real thoughts towards it. Personally, for me, I don't think I could handle somebody that's submissive in a sense of the opposite sex or same sex, if that ever... Yeah, anyways, I'm not going there. But I don't personally think I could handle that just because I like a mix. Like even an example, when I want to go out to eat for food, I'll let Francis speak just because it's not that whole... very stereotypical, girls never know what they want, and then when you choose something, they're like, no, I don't want that. I'm not realistically like that. I just don't, sometimes I just don't like choosing things. I'd rather somebody else choose it for me. It's weird. But there's times when that happens, but then sometimes I want to be like more in control of certain things. So yeah, I don't know if I could handle somebody being completely submissive. My dog, on the other hand, she's completely submissive to other dogs. So I mean, it's just a world that we live in. Hopefully I answered that well enough. Let's see, there's just nice notes, which nice notes are awesome, but I'm not gonna answer those or read them at least. Somebody asked, what are my rates for a photo shoot? When that happens, and if this individual is listening in, or they're going to be listening in at some point, I will definitely, aside from anything else, I will send you your own personal message. But for anyone else, if you are curious about my rates for any type of photo shoot, please just ask me and email me, message me, whatever the case might be. Provide as much details as you possibly can, such as, is this like a clothes shoot? Is this going to be more fashion? Is it going to be for magazines? Is it going to be video work? Is it for a music video? Is it like just all the details you can possibly give? And last episode, I discussed about the ways I produce shoots. So if you're really curious on the proper way of sending me an email, I highly suggest you check out episode 10 of HOURGLASS, because I kind of go well involved into that process. But yeah, as far as just like a general answer for that, honestly, it's just literally just email me and I'll give you a more direct response, because everyone's different. Some of the projects may only be 45 minutes and I have to debate, is it necessarily worth my time driving 45 minutes for a 45-minute shoot? Other times, you know, they might be wanting some elaborate thing and I can't provide that. Or they might be wanting some nude work and I'm not at that position in my career right now that I'm going to be pursuing that. And if I do, then my rate is going to be quite expensive. And so everyone's different and so is my rates. And not saying like I always change them. I do have a set rate that I have for clothes, lingerie and bikini, and then implied and nudes. They're usually always the same unless something happens, but it always changes, like especially if I'm traveling to a different city. My rates might be a little bit more higher than what I would charge here in Detroit, just because I have to pay for my traveling fees and all those random things that I have to do. So yeah, if you're ever really interested in knowing my prices for things, send me an email or a message with as many details as you possibly can. I will try to work with you as best as I can. And also, yeah, I'll try to do deals. I'm not that like stuck up where I will always charge out the kazoo, but nonetheless, yeah. Finish this sentence. I cannot go anywhere without, no. I always like to overthink myself on these things. Honestly, I cannot go anywhere without my dog, or just like dogs in general. Like before I had Akira, I couldn't go anywhere without Mercedes, even though I could. But if I was going to go somewhere for a long time, I would definitely want to bring my dog, just because dogs are awesome and they're like, they give you entertainment and they also give you affection. And they also like make your brain more active, because you either gotta run, well not brain, but also your physical self more active as well as your brain active, because you can do them tricks and train them for certain things, or you can obviously go running with them, whatever the case might be. Dogs just overall are a great fucking animal. So yeah, that's I feel like if I cannot go anywhere without my dog, or any dog. What is a major pet peeve? Well, last episode, I do believe my major pet peeve is for people not having their emails easily visible on their social media or website. That completely bugs me a lot. But my biggest and just my normal self pet peeve, I dislike when people are late. Hi, Zach. I dislike when people are late. That's just one of the biggest pet peeves I've had, and I think that's progressed as I gotten older. Anyways, nonetheless, yeah, because I like to be super on time. I'm very timely to everything I do. It's almost really bad. But especially in a job scenario, you have to be on time. If you're ever late to a photo shoot, to a business meeting, to whatever the case might be, job professional wise, I'm just gonna slightly roll my eyes as secretly as I possibly can. And a lot of people do have their main excuses. And I don't mean like saying excuses is a bad term, but like it is an excuse. Like, oh, excuse me, I'm late because of my kids, or because I got sick, or because of traffic, or whatever the case might be. And I understand things like that happen. I mean, they've happened to me. I've been late before. It's not like I'm the most perfect person in the entire world. There's obviously no such thing as that. But especially when it just keeps happening, it's just not very fun. And I don't know, just even when it is the first time too, I feel so wrong a lot of times, but I don't like when people are late. Like an example, I went to see this trainer last week, and they were like 7 minutes late, which is not that bad. But I was literally 4 to 5 minutes early. So I was waiting there for a decent time, but I was just like, every minute that it passed from our scheduled time, I'm like, why are they late? Like, I'm literally waiting for you. You're wasting, and not to be rude, but you're wasting my time waiting for you. Like, I could be doing other things in that 7 minute span. I could be getting food, or I could be like responding to an email, or I could be doing something. But nonetheless, that's just my minor, or in my mind, it's major pet peeve. But I don't immediately say, you're late. Can you give me an excuse right now? I'm not like that. I'm just more in my head like, you're late. That's kind of like a deduction from your scale on my mind. Let's see, anything else? And that's pretty much it on Tumblr. Let me just refresh just to make sure nothing else is new. Nope, there's nothing else new. All right, perfect. Hi, around 7 p.m. on Twitch. Sorry, the Twitch chat was kind of hidden from me. All right, so I wanted to get right into it. Well, it's not necessarily right into it because I've already been chatting for, a while. 20 minutes. Interesting. Anyways, so I recently came across this website, and I'm not going to throw any names in, and I'm not going to provide the website unless you really want to know. And if you really want to know, you're going to have to do the work and go message me on social media or email me. So Francis actually informed me of this website actually yesterday, but he also informed me a few days ago, or like a few months ago. And this website basically brings the light into Instagram models that are living these ridiculously high, lavish lifestyles, such as being on a beach in Cancun and being on a private jet and looking gorgeous and whatever the case might be. And before I get deep into it, I want to mention that this is not about a particular sex. I'm including males as well as females because they both work and they both have this same situation going on in their lives. So it's not about sex. I'm not being sexist or whatever the case might be. I may use one sex as the primary word, such as saying like him, her, she, he, but you can switch those terms, and vice versa. Just, you can switch it whenever you want because it both relates to both sexes. So before anyone like judges me on that, like, I'm going to not necessarily tread lightly. I'm going to speak my mind and share my thoughts and also share what I've realized. But at the same time, I don't want to necessarily offend, and I'm not going to offend anyone because this is, again, the truth as best as I can make it sound. And if you're more interested in it, Then again, message me and all that fun stuff if you want to get more details that I don't speak of. And you can do your own research because that's fun, right? Doing your own research. It's like going in school again and looking things up. Anyways, so I've mentioned it before in previous episodes. I'm not sure if it was on the Hourglass. I definitely know it was on Be Cool. But the difference between models and Instagram models is a new, like, modern day thing nowadays, especially with Instagram being very high. I hope my mic on Twitch is not too high. So, to briefly recap it and to quickly mention it, models, I would like to make myself, hopefully, be considered more of a model, a professional model in that sense. We'll add the pro model to it. Basically, a pro model goes to shoots. They're always, constantly networking and creating business contacts with clients such as photographers and wardrobe stylists and hairstylists, and they either work with agencies and they have managers. I don't unfortunately have those, or it's not really unfortunately, but I don't have an agent or manager, so I handle all the business myself. But they're very professional. They arrive on time. They do what is needed. They know what to do as far as poses go. Their entire social media is not filled with selfies. I'm trying to find like other differences of a professional model. I mean, obviously a professional model you might think of is like Tyra Banks, but even the like not high-end models can be, hopefully myself, but also like I would imagine there was a model, and I do believe she does not model anymore, but like Echo Nidalito or Adrienne Ho or Hattie Watson or even Alicia Nett or even, I'm trying to think of all these names. There's a lot of other like not super high-end like Tyra Banks status models. And those are just girls and guys that take the time to really make their portfolio and to make them become a model, what the definition of a model is. Nowadays, with Instagram being a very high imagery social media platform, we've kind of created an Instagram model. And what I feel an Instagram model is a guy or a girl that just really knows how to take selfies. They don't necessarily know what a photo shoot is like. They may have been to a few photo shoots, but they don't do it very often. And again, I don't shoot very often, but I feel like, and I hope that I've worked enough in the past 6 years that I have a shit ton of photos that I can still live off of. And these individuals really know how to use Instagram. And that's not a bad thing. That's just they found that platform and they're using it to their advantage. So I'm not like talking down about Instagram models. I'm not saying that they're negative or any kind. It's just that's now a new genre of modeling that girls and guys can get into. So with that idea, there's models versus Instagram models. And I don't mean like versus like, we're going to fight you. No, it's just, that's kind of my thoughts on it. Anyways, so yeah, that's the stereotypical, or not stereotypical, but that's my idea of the difference between a professional model and an Instagram model. They might intertwine, like, I know countless professional models that have bomb-ass selfies, and I also know a few Instagram models that know how to take some good photos. So they can mix, or they can stay their separate places. But one of the things that I noticed, and from this website as well, is that there's this term called sponsors. So before I even knew of this website, even just thinking of my time in Florida, there was a moment, and it's not as bad as it used to be now. It's actually not bad at all. But in Florida, I was living as a freelance model, and I still am. But Francis and I were both freelance artists, and we were trying to basically pay rent on time and pay the bills as a struggling artist in a sense. And if you are an artist, you understand exactly what I'm saying. If you're not an artist of any kind, you don't get paid bi-weekly or even once a week. Artists, you only get paid when you do a gig, either that be a painting and selling it, or that being part of a magazine and them giving you money for it, or that being a musician and playing at a venue, whatever the case might be, an artist, you don't get paid until you do something that somebody is paying for your services. And I know some other businesses kind of work on that same idea, but with artists, you really have to put in effort to make sure you're paying your rent on time. And I was struggling with that, especially in Florida. I wasn't making very much, and I was making a lot per hour at shoots, in comparison to like a McDonald's employee, but realistically I only had shoots maybe once or twice a month, and that's maybe, if I was lucky at that time, I would be getting maybe $100 to $300 a month, and our rent at the time was $1,000 a month plus bills and shit. So you do the math, that's realistically not even possible. So I've been there where I am to the point where I'm just eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch, breakfast, and dinner. I've been there where we could not pay our rent on time. I've been there where didn't even know if I was going to be able to pay for gas, let alone even if I had enough gas to get me to a shoot in the first place. So I've experienced that struggle of being pretty much almost poor. Fortunately enough, we had a great landlord that understood us and still allowed us to live in the house, and we eventually paid him off and everything. But there could have been a moment where he could have kicked us out and we could have been homeless. So those moments can happen, especially if you are a struggling artist. It happens, and that's kind of it's the fun in the game, in a sense. Like, at the time, it's not really fun, but looking back at it was definitely an experience that I would not really necessarily do it again, but at least I experienced it. So a lot of times especially in Florida, and even still to this day, honestly, I will get messages from porn companies or cam girl sites, or even those scams that I feel is a scam that says, hey, I'm from Dubai and I will pay you $40,000 to come suck my toes, and I'll fly you to Dubai for free and stick you in a hotel for free and all that fancy stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, at that moment of being basically almost poor and hearing the term $40,000, or you can shoot your first porno and bank $20,000, in my head I'm like, that sounds glorious. I want that money. It does. Even right now, if somebody emailed me and is like, hey, you can just do this hour shoot and, have your tits out and have some man suck them, we'll give you $10,000. I would be like, that sounds great as far as the money goes. The actual work behind it, personally for me, does not sound great. And everyone's different, like I said in the beginning of this episode. So what I say is what I feel comfortable with. And I don't feel comfortable with some random person sucking my tits. But other people might be like, oh, that's easy money, let's just do that. And they don't care. That's totally fine. That's whatever floats the boat. That's what they want to do. This whole episode is not to throw negative light on some of these people's decisions. That's not at all what I'm trying to do at all. From this episode, I've just noticed certain choices people have made, and that's totally fine. Again, as long as they're not hurting anyone or themselves, then they have the right to do whatever makes them happy. But it's more actually just kind of informing of people that certain things like this happen in the world, and possibly my thoughts on the deeper side of it. So again, I'm not throwing shade or hate, or I'm not even jealous. It's just more I've noticed this and I just wanted to share it. So again, I'm trying to tread lightly, but at the same time, it's my fucking podcast. I can say whatever I want. All right, just throwing it back in there. So yeah, I would notice that I was getting these constant emails, and it wasn't necessarily that constant, but at least once a week I was getting hey, be in a porno. And for me personally, there was even a moment where I talked to Francis, and it was about a cam girl situation, and he's like, well, you could just it sounds really bad saying it, but to the point where you could just throw a bag or go by an alias or whatever the case might be and get the money and nobody will know, right? And in my head, I even thought about it. I'm like, that's true. I could do that. But deep down inside, my own personal self would not feel happy with the outcome and the predicament and the possible consequences that might happen. Maybe somebody actually recognizes my tattoo and be like, Shima, was that you with that bag over your face? So overall, there have been moments where I even like sat and thought about it, but I never actually made it happen because, again, I wouldn't feel comfortable. It was not something I wanted to do. When it comes to like me shooting nudity, honestly, being just straight naked with nobody touching me, that's honestly as comfortable as I want to be. Spread legs, I'm not gonna do it. Don't fucking ask me to do it. And same with like touching myself, not gonna do it. I mean, I will touch myself like this and like do poses like that, but I'm not gonna actually like do insertion or even just like rub anything. That's passing my comfortability. And again, there are other individuals that are completely fine with that. And I give them an applause because they're filling those voids that I'm trying to not do, and they're feeling it, and they're either baking from it or they're happy with it or whatever the case might be. So when these moments happened to me, I had to weigh my options, figuring out, do I really want the money over the possible consequences that may happen from this? An example, my family finding out, or I'm, involved with the scam and the person is actually not who they say they are, or the possibility of diseases if that ends up happening. There are consequences to every action you do, even if it isn't like this whole topic. Say it's just buying a soda from the vending machine. There's consequences to that too. So nonetheless, I had to weigh the options and feel like what was best for myself at that time. And again, the money sounded awesome. I'm not gonna lie. $10,000 would have helped a fuck ton during that time. And it still would have helped a shit ton now. I'm not gonna lie. Money always does sound nice. Especially when you're just not doing financially well. Now, if you're a millionaire, the money doesn't even fucking matter to you by that point because it's nothing. So there are times when models are faced with that because, again, I was a model that was just shooting nudes and I was just standing posing. I wasn't doing any erotic type imagery, but I was still getting these messages. And these individuals that send the messages, either it be like the porn star world or the cam girl world or in the cam guy, again, same thing. Or even the idea of sponsors. I can see that they are trying, and I'm not trying to be rude to them either, because, again, they found a niche that they can play the game at, and they found an advantage. And so I don't necessarily, I'm also not bashing on them either, but it is unfortunate sometimes because some of those individuals can take advantage of younger individuals or, naive individuals. And that's very unfortunate because there are times, and I've watched documentaries, I've read countless articles where girls and guys get taken advantage of in those predicaments. They wanted the money, they didn't really think about it because they were yet naive, they didn't know, and they just went for it. And then afterwards, or 5 years later, they regretted it. It happens, and we do make mistakes. And if you do something that you end up regretting, I try not to regret anything in my life. But there are moments when you might have to, and it's unfortunate. But that's a decision you made at a certain time, and you hope that you take that into a positive light, and you go forward with that. You make that change yourself into a better human being as best as you can. Anyways, nonetheless, I feel like I'm just going on more. Woo! Anyways, so there are times when this has happened to me and other individuals, and again, you just gotta weigh your options and figure out what's right for you. So I'm trying to figure out what order I want to go in because there's a lot of orders I can go in. So yeah, okay, so an example too, also needing money. I read Asa Akira's, both of her books actually, and if you haven't read it and you like just Asa Akira, or you just like the porn world, or if you just like reading books, or if you're just, bored out of your mind and you just want something to do, I highly just suggest reading Asa Akira's books. One, it's just kind of like a giggle thing, and also it's just kind of like fun to read. But an example in my mind, porn stars, cam girls, or guys, and nude models. Those individuals know what they're doing, right? I would imagine. I imagine also Akira knows what she's doing. I imagine I know what I'm doing when I'm shooting nudes. And I imagine some cam girls know what they're doing when they're in front of the webcam and doing what they do best. A lot of those individuals are upfront about it. They know what they're doing and they don't hide it, right? Asakira's upfront. On her Twitter, she will literally have her naked ass doing stuff. And same with me. I will post on Tumblr with my nude body if I had a nude image that I needed to post. So a lot of times, porn stars, cam girls and guys, and nude models are very upfront, and they're usually known too. They have a name associated with them. They're not hiding their face. They take it with pride and they move forward with it because that's something that they wanted to do, right? If you didn't want to do something, a lot of times you keep it either hidden or you're not 100% comfortable with it and you're worried about the consequences, right? Because I know also Akira's mentioned, she had that tension with her own mother when her, family found out what she did for a living. But she loves her job, and she eventually worked with it on her family terms, and so now I think she mentioned her and her mom have a better relationship and stuff. But nonetheless, even my family, they know that what I do for a living. I mean, at first I did keep it a secret because I was scared. I was worried what they were gonna think. I was worried that my mom was going to lose respect for me and not want me to be associated as her daughter. I even had a sister-in-law who had to unfriend me on Facebook because I was posting inappropriate images. And again, that's just nude. That wasn't having my vagina. Well, I guess technically my front badge was out. But nonetheless, and I accepted that. I'm that's totally fine. I get it. As long as you still want to talk to me, I'm totally content on you unfollowing me. And if there was a family member of mine that wanted to have nothing to do with me, then I feel like that's their loss. And I enjoy what I do for a living, even though there's times where I fucking want to pull my hair out. But nonetheless, I enjoy it. And so there are a lot of individuals such as, and I'm not trying to say these people are bad and what they're doing is wrong. But even the idea of escorts and prostitutes and hookers, a lot of times they're hidden. And if they aren't hidden, then they still accept it and they are upfront about it. There's a lot of individuals, I would imagine prostitutes that are I don't give a fuck. I will literally go on the street or whatever and show who I am and show my face. Whatever the case might be. But there are some individuals that like to keep it secret. I know tons of cam girls that don't show their face at all. They just do things on, with their body, basically. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. That's just the choice that they choose, and that's the direction that they wanted to go. So and I feel like some people are where are you going with this, Shima? So basically where I am going with this is that not new, because I'm sure this has been happening for years and years and years, but I found this new term that they're called is sponsors. And from this site, is usually a man with thousands to millions of dollars that want to pay for sex. And so you might be thinking, well, there's prostitutes that handle that as well, and there's hookers as well, and escorts, and that is the case. And even cam girls and porn stars, they probably get paid shit tons of money from mostly men, but I'm sure females as well, that want to pay for sex type of things. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. They found something that they want to do. They have the money for it. They want to invest in it. And same with the cam girls. They found something that they love doing and they get paid for it. Fucking great on them. They found something. That's fantastic. But the thing I wanted to really just mention is the idea of these Instagram models. So it's not necessarily Instagram models. It could be on Twitter as well. It could be on Tumblr, but Instagram models is now a term that's just kind of happening around the world. And a lot of times, these individuals, male or female, look like your gorgeous, stereotypical Instagram model. So we'll use a girl as an example. And we can use a guy too, but we'll start with a girl. A stereotypical Instagram model in my mind that just stands out is a girl that has a very flat tummy. Very, like, they look like they work out, but their boobs are ridiculously huge. And I feel like some of y'all are like, Shima, you're kind of like describing yourself. My tummy ain't that fucking flat. But yeah, they have these ginormous boobs. And I'm not saying like redonkulous, but they're pretty sizable in comparison to their tummy shape. And as well as like their hips and ass. Their gluteus maximus is way maximus. And every photo they take is just stunning. They have makeup on that's fantastic. They are just looking one of a kind. They're in the gym lifting weights with the booty shorts and the crop tops. And the opposite for the males. It's a guy with like fucking, what do you call those things? Washboard abs. And with these huge muscles, and every pose they do is like showing their upper torso and what they can deliver, and also them in the gym lifting weights, looking attractive as ever, having the hair looking all sexy and stuff. And so that's kind of the stereotypical idea of what an Instagram model is. Again, nothing's wrong with that. They like to take care of themselves. They want to go into the gym and lift some weights and be athletic. They want to have gorgeous curves, whatever the case might be. There's nothing wrong with that. What I feel is wrong with it is these individuals state that they are models. They're agency models, or that they are, what did I write? That they are a fitness coach or a fitness instructor, or they're like an interior designer, or they're even like a bartender. That's what they'll put on their bio, right? And again, they could be a model. They could be, signed to Wilhelmina, or they could be a fitness guru and somebody that has their own gym, and they could be an interior designer who I don't know, and I can't judge because I don't have necessarily all of those factors in my life. But one of the biggest things is this website kind of honed down on these people because they started noticing that these Instagram models were going to the beach and looking super nice when they're not even like living in a beach area, or they're from California, but they are flying in private jets, sipping champagne, eating at expensive restaurants, and just living this like high lavish lifestyle. And again, some of these individuals might have been grown into money, so their parents have all of this wealth and they now have all this wealth so they can afford all this stuff. Or they also could be a very well-known or high society interior designer, so they worked for that money and did these amazing interior design moments. Some of them get picked up, weirdly, not many though. Wilhelmina, Nick. I'm Jen Selter. I'm unsure what you're talking about, but hopefully I can follow. Sorry, reading is also one of the hardest things to talk and read, so I apologize. But yeah, there's not necessarily anything wrong with them having these jobs, but this site realized that there was just something a little fishy with the idea that these Instagram models were living these lavish lifestyles, but also working normal, not getting paid that much type jobs. And if they were going on jets and stuff like that, why aren't they working as much? And the same thing with, like I've talked about with social media. A lot of social media, they show you what they want to show you. They want to show you the great things that are happening in your life versus the negative. And some people want to show you the negative, but a lot of times, especially with images, they want to show you the amazing things that are going on in your life. But this site decided to play the game and try to figure out who were these people and what were they doing to get into these situations. And so the site decided to kind of become like a sponsor. And I just found out about the site literally like a couple hours ago. So don't take my full word on what was created and all that fun stuff. But they decided to take on the persona of a sponsor and reach out to these Instagram models, the people that seem really attractive, that be males and females, and decided to reach out to them and seeing what they are willing to do for money. And a lot of the ones that were shown on the site, and I'm not, again, saying all Instagram models are doing this at all. And I'm not saying that no pro models are doing this at all. I'm just more, again, shedding light on things that are happening. And that, again, there's not necessarily anything wrong, again, as long as you're not, harming yourself or others, and also, of course, if you're not breaking anything illegal. Again, it depends on what country you're from, but nonetheless. So there are these Instagram models where if a sponsor reaches out to them, so an example of what I've had happen, where a person says that they're from Dubai and that they're a prince and that they want to pay for some sexual things. I, personally, would be like, no, it's okay, thanks, though. But some of these individuals decided to take it upon themselves to reply and kind of play the game. Yes, I will do this, and yes, I will do that, and no, I won't go that crazy. And some of the things that this site shed light on was some interesting, fetishes. And again, there's nothing wrong with having fetishes. Everyone's different. I worked in a porn store, so, I know most of, the craziest fetishes in the world. But some of these individuals, male and female, were down to do some interesting things, such as doing, anal sex, or flying to Dubai and having, I think the biggest thing on the site was, having hummus spread on certain body parts and having it licked up, and, foot fetishes, and, I don't know, there's just fucking tons of shit, but nonetheless, a lot of these models, would agree to it, or not agree. Some of them said, no, I'm not down to do some of these things. And like I said, and I keep saying, there's nothing necessarily wrong. They found something, they're down to suck somebody's toes for money, and that there's nothing wrong with it. That's what they wanted to do. As long as they're not biting this innocent human being's toes off without their consent, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, at least in my mind. I'm not down for that, but some people are, and that's totally fine. What I'm just more curious about is why they chose sometimes to kind of not sugarcoat it, but and they don't necessarily hide it either. Well, a lot of times they actually do hide it. They kind of level it out, oh, I'm a agency model, and that's what everyone sees them as, is I'm an agency model, but deep down in the very, very back corner, they're doing this almost prostitution escort type of thing. And it's interesting because in my mind, it's more the modern day prostitute, and I'm not saying this as a mean term at all. It's just more that social media has given a new realm for sex workers. And it's interesting because a lot of them will try to hide it, but they'll still show it, them going to these private jets and these fancy parties and wearing this expensive dress or suit. And it's fascinating because if they're trying to hide it because of their family's sake, then yeah, I understand. Again, I was there too. I try to hide my job from my family. But at some point, you have to realize if you enjoy it and you're comfortable about it, you shouldn't hide it. That's something about you. And if people can't accept it, then they can't fucking accept it. So why hide it under being a model or being a fitness guru or being an interior designer or even a bartender? If I was getting paid $500,000 to slick some toes, I don't think I would want to be categorized as a bartender. I mean, no offense to bartenders, but if I literally was getting paid a shit ton of money for a job that I appreciate and I'm willing to do, then I feel I would be hey, bio Instagram, sex worker. Contact me if you want some work. I don't know. In my mind, I don't understand why they necessarily have to hide it. Because again, if it is family, or if it's your children, or if it's whatever the predicament might be, I can understand to that aspect why people hide certain things. But again, at the same time, if you love doing it and that's something that you enjoy, why? Why do you have to hide it? You should just be open about it. and let people judge you. Fuck it. If people judge you, then let them fucking judge you. People judge me all the time. And look what I've grown up to be. But no, it's more, it's fascinating. It's just interesting. And I read a few of the posts that the site did, and they were very interesting, and there was nothing wrong with it. They wanted, and like, money does make the world go round. A lot of these people were doing it just for the money. And again, I lived that life in Florida where money was amazing. Money still is amazing. I haven't hit that yearly mark where I'm making, at least 50,000, or like at least I'm making 40,000 to feel content. Once I hit 40,000, then I'll be fine. I don't feel like money has to like make my world go round. But at the stage where I'm at now, money still, if somebody offered me $1,000 to, I don't know, wrestle in some oil, I'll look at it for a brief second, think, oh, $1,000 sounds nice, and then I'll move on because I don't feel comfortable with that. But it's just interesting that even this site is heavy, kind of almost, even some of the comments were almost disrespectful and saying, oh, that, bitch, or oh, that hoe, or whatever these disrespectful terms. We're saying, oh, they deserve it, or, whatever the case might be, or, oh, they're doing it just for the money. Like, that's, sick and insane. It's like, first of all, hold up. First, think of things that you've done for money. And then just, like, rethink what you're talking about. Even a lot of people will look at me and be like, Shima, you do nudes, so you automatically are willing to do sexual things. No. A lot of people also like badmouth porn stars and cam girls and guys for what they do. But at the same time, those people are watching their porn shows or their cam sessions. So you're kind of involved in that. So why bash people for giving these other people what they want in their life? Just because they're having their tits or dick out doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong at all. Now, an example, though, of somebody that is wrong, and it's very unfortunate that this individual had to be kind of shown out in the blue in the internet world, but there was an individual, Instagram model, who clearly said that they were willing to have sex with an underage individual. And that's unfortunate because that's when you're starting to break the law, and that's not right. At least in America, and I'm sure a few other countries will agree that having sex with underage individuals is not legal. It is indeed wrong. I cannot fathom the idea of people doing it, and I don't know physically, but I know based on articles and other things, and even this individual is especially, there's people that are willing to do it for money. And that sucks. It really sucks when you throw money into circumstances like that. Because when you throw in the idea of I'll pay you $50,000 to have sex with an underage kid, that's ridiculous. And there's people that will probably do it, and that's just unfathomable. I can't wrap my head around that. And that's to my point where I'm like, okay, you're harming somebody and yourself, and you're breaking the law. Some people may harming. No, if it's illegal, there's certain times illegal stuff is right, and that exactly is right. It should be illegal, and you should be prosecuted and all that fun stuff. But it's unfortunate that they had to be outed the way they were. But at the same time, she didn't think of their consequences of that action at all. She was just thinking of the money, and that happens, but there are consequences to those actions, and we just all have to be aware of what we're doing in our life and the choices that we make. I feel like I've said it enough, but just again, I'm not bashing any of these people, unless, you do something like I just mentioned, that's just unfathomable. Anyways, I'm not bashing anyone, and I think whatever you're doing, as long as it makes you happy, go for it. As long as you're not hurting anyone, breaking any laws, or harming yourself, your full right is to do whatever your heart desires. But at the same time, people that are on this website that may weirdly be watching my fucking podcast, or just anyone in general that just happens to stumble upon this podcast. Make sure you also try your hardest not to judge others, because you gotta take a look of your own self, and there's probably things that you've done in your own life that was questionable, that other people may judge you for. And I know we're humans, we're capable of holding our own opinions and thoughts and stuff. I do it too. I will judge somebody based on their shoes. I get that from my mother. Hey, Mom. But nonetheless, we always gotta keep in mind, like, we just don't try your hardest not to judge people. Again, if it is a serious offense and a bad thing, such as the subway guy, yeah, go ahead, judge him all you want. And whoever else. You are open to judge people, but just keep in mind who you're judging and do your research too. Don't just automatically judge Asa Akira just because she's a porn star. Look into it. Like, why is she a porn star? Read her books, maybe. Figure out something a little bit about her before you're like, why did she do that? Whatever filthy thing. I don't know what these people call, like, bad mouth porn stars or whatever. But, like, just do your research and think before you just judge people. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to shed light on this. Again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with having a sponsor and getting paid to have this lavish lifestyle, but don't necessarily hide it over something or underneath another career or job, because at the end of the day, you're making other models look bad. People are going to look at me and associate, oh, Shima, she shoots nude. All right, she'll be down for this, sponsorship shit. But at the end of the day, yeah, whatever you're doing also can affect other people, even if you don't even fucking know it. So just be aware of what your consequences are and don't judge other people. That's pretty much it. That was pretty much the episode. So I felt bad, but I'm going to be honest because it's my podcast. I can talk about whatever I want before Instagram ends on me. Earlier today, I told Francis that I was kind of starting to not get super excited about my episodes. And I've realized it's just because I need to change it up. So I'm going to change it up on y'all. Yeah, we're going to go crazy. No, I wish I could go crazy. I really honestly feel also like my podcast needs like a co-host. Just because having somebody else to like chat with, and not necessarily just a special guest, but somebody that will be here every episode, would just be more interesting sometimes. But nonetheless, I think next week I am going to take you into the world of thrift shopping. Yeah, because that's something I do best. That's where I found these gorgeous earrings. That's where I didn't find this ring there, but that's where I found this gorgeous dress, and other wardrobe things in my house. So I'm going to take you off thrift shopping. I haven't figured out the exact details. It either might be Friday afternoon or possibly Tuesday of next week. Actually, no, it can't be Tuesday. So it might be Friday, actually. I'll try to schedule something, but I will Instagram live me shopping at thrift stores, or even just do an Instagram story. I haven't decided that exactly yet, but I'll take you into the life of me and thrift stores and kind of make like a game out of it. Either have y'all choose a specific era for me to dress like and find the clothing from thrift stores, or I might do like $15 to $20 outfit. So I have to find an entire outfit for $20. I feel like $20 is more reasonable. $15 is a little bit more trickier, because especially if it's like pants, top, and shoes, that can be pretty hard to do under $15 or at $15. But yeah, I might do like a little game. But otherwise, yeah, I'm going to take y'all in the world of thrift shopping, and we're going to have fun with it, and it's going to be amazing. And then after next week's episode, 2 weeks from now, my sister will be on. So that will be exciting as well. So, all right, everyone on Instagram, y'all were amazing. Sorry my reading was really off, but it's totally fine because I love y'all anyways. So thanks, Instagram, for tuning in. I will see y'all later. Bye. End video. All right, and everyone on Twitch, YouTube, and SoundCloud, thank you for tuning in. And fortunately, nothing bad happened with OBS. So I'm going to drink this delicious water and pat my face off and wash it off because it's sweaty hot in my studio. And I will see you next week. So also, if you want to tune into the thrift shopping thing, it will be on Instagram. So just follow me on Instagram at l.shima_model. You will find everything you want in there. And yeah, all right. Toodles, everyone, and have a good night. Bye. Stop streaming.